Hello and welcome to level 21 of the Thoughts and Players podcast, the brand new gaming podcast with bold takes and no strings attached. And I am here, it's me, Jeremy, here again with my two compadres. I have David.
What up?
And I have Cory.
You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? You guys know that one?
No.
Isn't that
David? David, it's Zelda. That's correct. Majora's Mask. It's the happy mask salesman.
Was it?
That
I was
was
totally just
impressive.
saying that just to play stupid.
Well, you played smart. And I think it's just like a really great line. It happens at the beginning of the game, and it sets like the mood that this is like a different kind of Zelda. I actually want to dedicate this to our main man, Cody, who has picked the medium as one of his games in the draft. And as of right now, the medium has a 76 Metacritic. How are we feeling about that, guys?
Here's what I'll say. It's very average, but from what I recollect, that's a fourth rounder.
It is a fourth rounder. So you're okay with that?
That's pretty good for a fourth round pick,
Yeah,
in my
it's
opinion.
that high.
Yeah.
Well, Cody had a few choice words I cannot repeat. He talked about the draft being fixed, about the draft giving him no prep time, a lot of complaints, a lot of excuses, but there we have it. There's an update on our video game draft right now. Jeremy's in the lead, Cody's in second. So he's got that.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. That's something to be
That's right.
very, very happy and proud about, you know.
That's right.
And he should enjoy it before the rest of the games come out and he gets obliterated.
Let's just drop the last.
Because by the way everything else is going, the medium might end up being his highest rated game. Okay. I don't want to bash
you
Halo.
Have to be so brutal. Oh,
I don't
want to
bash Halo, but I don't know, man. I got a sneaky feeling about
I
this.
mean, I can bash it if you want.
If Halo gets below a 76, Xboxes around the world would just catch fire. There's no way.
They just need to just leave it alone. Let it rest in peace.
Right. Well, guys, make sure you stay plugged in for that update. The draft is off and furious, right? And that's what it is. But speaking of, we're into the morning announcements. Ding, let the little thing happen. There we go. And speaking of Xboxes catching on fire, news item number one. Microsoft raised their Xbox Live Gold prices and then immediately reversed on the decision. So Xbox announced the price hike on January 22nd, and they announced it, and basically within 15 hours of announcing it, they retracted it because everyone was like, oh, you guys must be losing your effing minds. So to go through what their proposal was, is that for both existing and new members, the 1 month plan went up from $9.99 to $10.99. The 3 month plan went from $24.99 to $29.99. And for new members, the price of the 6 month plan increased from $39.99 to $59.99. And then, of course, the 12 monther went from the $59.99 that it was before they discontinued it to a nice $120 annually. So, of course, these all sound like terrible decisions. They pulled it back. The good news to come out of it is that free-to-play games will no longer require a gold subscription. So Xbox did take a step forward, and by step forward, beating or meeting everyone else because Sony and Nintendo were already doing this. There was no justification given for why there was an increase between 10% to 50% of the prices. They just felt like just cuz. Guys, what are your opinions on Microsoft feeling really like they want to shoot themselves in the foot on a random day? Because there was no
need. First
It's
of all,
new.
like the $60, I think, is at the high mark of what gamers are willing to pay for this because it's free on PC.
Right.
Like we are only paying to play online. Like, yeah, you get free games, but that's not why you subscribe because those free games are usually older or games that you would already have. So, like, to jump to double the prices, it was not a good look. And I'm really surprised because when Phil Spencer came on to lead the Xbox team, he's done a lot of great things. He's really had his pulse on the consumers and what they want, and he's been gamer friendly. And this decision had to go through him. So for him to approve this, it's like, what are you thinking, man? You knew this wasn't going to go down well,
right? And it's on top of 2020 being Xbox's most profitable year as far as gaming, and a lot of it's actually attributed to Xbox Game Pass because it hit their peak in subscribers. So you already have people that are already flocking to your more premium level subscription because they see the value in it. So why doing this makes absolutely no sense.
Yep.
I mean, I said this like a year ago, but like they want to get rid of Xbox Gold. And by doing that, they want everyone that's on Gold to go to Game Pass Ultimate. So I think they figured, hey, we're going to make this so expensive, it makes no sense not to go to Ultimate. But it backfired.
As it should.
I've never seen a community come together so fast just to rip on one company.
It was furious.
Oh, yeah. I saw so many, all right, I'm going to PlayStation comments ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fast and furious.
I'd like to say this, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like one of Microsoft's first kind of missteps in a while. Yes, no, maybe so.
Since what, announcing Halo?
It just feels like another Microsoft misstep.
Yeah.
It just feels like another.
It's been a while.
Yeah, what, a month?
Because the Halo was a misstep. Right? I feel like it's just another instance of them getting in their way again.
Okay.
And they're so behind already. The fact that they're still able to get in their own way sometimes it's just mind-boggling.
Right.
Yeah, which sucks because believe it or not, guys, we don't want to bash Microsoft, but they just keep giving us the stupid. So we got to comment on it. And this was another really idiotic decision. I'm glad they reversed on it, when they were met with fire and brimstone from the gaming community. That's good. But news item number 2, Cyberpunk 2077. You guys remember that game? Well, they came out with a 1.1 patch for it, and it broke the game. So the patch 1.1, it introduced a new bug that if you're in the quest down on the street, during which you may receive a call from a character named Takumura, the 1.1 patch installs triggers for that. But when the phone call happens, Takumura just stares and doesn't say anything, and there's no way to progress past this mission. So therefore, you can't continue the game. They've said one of their workarounds was to load a game save before Takumura and then finish the conversation with Takumura outside of his office instead of inside. And then when you're finished with the conversation, the quest updates and you need to skip 23 hours in the game. And then you see if the holocall triggers the dialogue for Takumura to start and you can progress past the quest.
This feels like more complicated than trying to get like Mew in Pokemon Blue and Red.
Oh,
it's
my
like
God.
you got to do this and this, and then you check. He might be there. Catch him. Have you guys gone back to Cyberpunk at all?
That's what I was going to ask. Have you guys gone back? Because I have not.
Nope. Like I said, I am waiting until it's a smooth sailing game. Yeah. I got time. I'll wait.
I really thought I'd get a ton more hours into it. I have played a few missions, but I don't know. My heart's not in it like it was. It almost feels like a Skyrim or a Fallout to me, where I got my 30 hours of gameplay and I didn't finish the story, but I feel like I've had enough. I still think it's a good game, and when all this gets done, it'll be a great game, but I feel like I've had enough personally.
I'll tell you what, I wish it felt like a Skyrim to me.
Yeah.
I wish it did. But there you guys go, man. Let us know if you're still playing Cyberpunk. Because I'll be honest, I kind of forgot this game existed for a minute. News item number 3. And this is meat and potatoes. This is the whole thing. Where Reddit is essentially gaming GameStop stock on Wall Street. So, yeah, I had to write a bunch of notes. Let me see if I can get this, if I can summarize this accurately. So GameStop has their ticker symbol, which is GME. If you guys have heard about GME, it was in kind of all bad sorts, losing value because the company has an antiquated business model. However, there's a subreddit on Reddit called Wall Street Bets, and there's this user whose name, and I have to say it, excuse my French, his name is Deep Fucking Value. He decided in 2019 he was going to buy $50,000 worth of shares of the company because he simply, quote, liked the stock. At the time he invested, GME was worth $5. Anyway, some time goes by, and he indicates to this subreddit, who made fun of him when he did it, by the way, that he believes he's found or noticed high short interest, meaning there was a lot of shorts against the company. And by this time, the value of the stock had went from $5 a share to $10 a share. So everyone's looking at this guy and they're like, wait a minute, he made a stupid bet and he's already doubled his money. So they start jumping in, and then the stock goes up. It goes up $20, $30, $40, $50. So then this newspaper gets circulated by this place called Citron Research, which does newsletters for investing, saying that the stock was going to crash back down to $20, and it made people even more invigorated to invest. So they invested even more. So they got the stock up to $90, in which Citron Research then was forced to close out of their short position. Basically means covering their shorts, selling their shorts, trying to get out so they can not lose as much money. The prices kept going up. If you guys watch the news, it got up to something like $350 a share, something ridiculous. One of the hedge funds that was shorting it, Melvin Capital, doubled down on their position, and they lost about $2.75 billion.
Hey!
Yeah.
And they had to get bailed out from companies like Point72 and Citadel. And this is where the real interesting parts of this actually happens, because at this point, brokerages started putting restrictions on clients to buy the stocks. Now, one of the most well-known brokerages to do this is Robinhood. And Robinhood conducts about 40% of their business with who? Citadel, which is one of the companies that bailed out this Melvin Capital. This caused the stock to dip. It has been kind of dipping ever since. If you checked it today, what is it, February 4th? I think it's somewhere between $50 and $60 a share now. From compared to last Thursday when it was in the hundreds, $200 to $300 of dollars. So that's basically what's been happening. If you go to Wall Street Bets, it's a subreddit. I'm not glad to say, I don't know, but I'm in the subreddit. So I've been able to read this stuff and get some information. They're telling their people to hold. That's the mantra. Hold the stock, diamond hands, hardened hands, do not hold, do not fold, do not sell, because if you sell, you drive the stock price further down, and that's what these hedge funds want. It's a crazy, crazy story. It's morphed from people making some money to people all in to fight hedge funds and fight what they believe to be the personification of capitalistic greed and corruption, which I would agree with them on that point. There is that. But that is it. I want to credit that most of this information I got from a post from a user, Altair, inside of the Wall Street Bets forum. Altair, also my favorite assassin in Assassin's Creed, so I connected right with it. But I'm sure I missed a bunch of things, but that is essentially what has been going on. Guys, have you been keeping up on this? Have you bought any GME? What's going on? What's going down?
I went into Robinhood about a year ago, and they give you a free stock, and I was gifted GameStop at $4. Nice. So I thought I was going to be all in the stocks. I wasn't. I heard about this. I checked my stock. It went up to $100, and I sold it like immediately. Like, $100, I got to get rid of this. So I made $100 off it. It then a couple days later went up to, I think the max was like 440. So I missed out on a little bit, but I think the story's hilarious. I think it's just a wonderful story of the small guys that they say, you always hear invest, invest, invest. And they did. And they screwed over all these big guys. And now those people are mad. You got that old white dude on the news crying, they're hurting rich people. Like, that's great. That's amazing. You love to hear stories like this. I hope that, everyone that did this ends up making some sort of money. Whether GameStop survives or not, I don't personally care. I don't think they're a great company. But for the people investing and kind of rocking the boat, awesome.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. The whole, it just happens to be GameStop. I think it would have been any stock if they were paying attention to them, But just to see them freaking out about it and going crazy is just amazing. Like, they sit there and play the stocks all the time, and now for them to get the short end of the stick is beautiful. And then, like, I know somebody made 30K off of doing all this, and they just went and bought a bunch of switches for kids at a hospital.
Yeah.
So, like, this obviously, people aren't really looking to get rich. They're trying to just make rich people not rich.
Not as rich, because they're going to stay rich.
Yeah, okay. It's not going to get what we really, really want, but it's a little push in the right direction.
Right. I will say first off, short end of the stick, great pun. And then also that, I think people went into it initially to try to get rich, to like try to get some financial independence, but they've seen what's going on. They've seen how the media has treated this, how they've been kind of conveyed. They see how the ridiculous amount of efforts there have been in the regards of the brokerages. Like Robinhood restricted it. Robinhood has an IPO coming soon. Robinhood is losing tons of accounts, and Robinhood's IPO is going to go up in flames. Robinhood has done brand destruction that they may not be able to recover from. We'll have to see. But yeah, it's morphed into, okay, now we just want to hurt the big guy as much as we can.
Right.
So you have people that have lost tens of thousands of dollars still holding their stocks on the hope that a short squeeze hasn't happened yet, and that's when the hedge funds have to buy back the stocks in order to cover their losses, and that shoots the price up. So they're hoping that A, that hasn't happened yet, and B, that they are completely bleeding these companies dry.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also Google got rid of like thousands of 1-stars on Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
And they're back, and apparently they're not getting rid of them this time. And then also you said the media, the media is calling the not rich people like the internet barbarians and stuff like that. Like
right.
You're really gonna degrade this entire set of people just because they're throwing over the rich.
Those people are just playing the games the rich people have been playing all along.
Right. Yeah.
They're just going to their court and playing the same game. So no sympathy at all. Jeremy, you are quite the investor. Do you want to give free advice to anyone looking to invest on what companies they should invest in and take total responsibility? Now's your platform.
Disclaimer, I am not a financial analyst. Therefore, I cannot give financial advice. But I will say that though I do not have any GME, I am holding AMC until it goes zero or until it shoots to the effing moon. Okay? That's what's going down right now. Okay? Diamond hands, not on GME, but diamond hands on AMC. Let's go. All right? Let's see. But that is it for that story, guys. Let us know. Are you GME diamond handing? Are you AMC diamond handing? Are you in Noke? Are you in Doge? My Doge just went up like $200. I got Doge as a joke.
It won't let me buy it. It's stupid.
Right, because Robinhood is trying to screw you out of your wealth, David. That's what's going on.
I know. It's not and it's not on other apps.
We'll get you there.
Just
it's in
30 more on it for me.
I will do. We'll do.
All right.
So we're going to move into news item number 4, which is there's a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic in production. It's in the works. Who is it being developed by? We don't know. Who is it being published by? We don't know. But we do know who it isn't being published and developed by. That is by BioWare and EA. Good riddance. Guys, KOTOR, I think I've told you guys before, KOTOR, the first one, was the very first game I played on my Xbox Series X. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I don't know if you guys have any interest in KOTOR at all, and therefore if you have any kind of excitement for this new KOTOR in development. Even as someone that loves KOTOR, I'm kind of like, it's been about 20 years. But again, it's cool that it's coming out with something, so guess. Yeah.
Yeah, huge fan of the first Kotar. Thought it had one of the best like endings in all of gaming, like twist
Oh yeah.
endings.
Oh
Like it
yeah.
just blew my mind away. I don't know. I was like 12 or 13, something like that.
Inception levels of mind
Yeah,
blowing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really never got into number two. Never played the MMORPG. I mean, if it's a traditional RPG like the first one, I'll be down for it.
I can hope it would do well because we've seen a lot of stuff coming out of the works that haven't been developed in like years. Like Streets of Rage, Battletoads, stuff like that. So you said this game is really really old. Hopefully it follows the same footsteps as they did. And like I never played this one. The only one I ever played was the original Battlefield 2. And that one was that was actually really good. I'm not really a Star Wars fan, but that was a great game.
Yeah.
If it's anything like that, I might try it out.
Well, I don't think it'll be like Battlefront. I don't think
Okay.
it will be like that, but it may. I think the new Battlefront 2 is like, did you not like the new ones or you didn't even bother playing those?
I didn't bother playing those because that was the game that really made microtransactions look really, really bad, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
defined
it
defined the generation, some would say.
Right.
You don't say.
We'll move to news item number 5. The CWA, Communication Workers, something else. Labor union, they've revealed a plan for a major effort to unionize video game workers. So the CWA, which is actually the Communications Workers of America, I forgot the America part, is a labor union, and they're making an attempt to unionize the gaming space. They've begun their effort with a campaign to organize digital employees, an acronym known as CODE, which I think is very clever. And they are intent on unionizing tens of thousands of video game workers that comprise and contribute to what I believe a few episodes were able to determine as being $100 billion industry, something that rivals film and sports in regards to its revenues. So we've talked before about labor practices, crunch, different stuff like that. These guys are trying to make an effort to get in there because they are a sizable labor union. They can make some effort to put some weight behind the movement. What do you guys think about this?
I think it's a good thing, because like you said just now, like a whole about all the crunching that's been going on. Like I'm not a fan of that, and just just have that little, guy on your side, going against the bigger corporations. It's not a bad thing.
I mean, video games are a big boy industry now. So you've already said sports and movies; those both have strong unions, and
Yep.
unions are for the workers. And we talk about crunch. If they get unions, we're not going to be hearing about that anymore. People will be paid fairly. Their hours will be curated, so they're not working massive amounts. And this is just, I think it's going to take a while to happen. And there might be a lot of like throwback from the companies, but it will happen and it will be good for the industry. I hope.
Right. It's kind of launching off of, because a couple of years ago, I don't know if you guys remember about voice actors striking in video games. SAG-AFTRA, which is like more aligned with film and television, but they're part of that whole thing. And they were fighting to get better compensation or more fair compensation for voice actors. So they're kind of saying the same thing. Well, if the actors can get union representation in this industry, how does the programmer, the art, director, the whoever else doesn't also get union representation in this industry? So that's the effort they're trying to make, I guess. We'll see if it works or not. News item number 6, Gearbox Entertainment, makers of Battleborn and Aliens, Colonial Marines, and nothing else, was bought by Embracer for 1.3 billies. Embracer also owns THQ Nordic, which is the resurrection of previous developer / publisher THQ. So Randy Pitchford and his crew and his deceitful weird ways and his rumored sex parties has just gotten a flood of cash from Embracer. I know, Corey, you said you had picked up Borderlands 3.
right.
not too long ago. I've picked it up. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Do we think this is actually a wise decision by Embracer to purchase Gearbox Entertainment? Because they're kind of hit and miss with their titles, and it seems like the only one they're consistently successful with is Borderlands.
Yeah, that's true. It feels like a little bit of an overpay. I'm not a company dropping 1.3 billion, so I guess I really don't know what that all involves, but they're not my favorite developer at all. A lot of their games, like you said, Alien Isolation, terrible. What was the other one you just mentioned?
Alien Colonial
Battleborn.
Marines. Colonial Marines.
No, Alien Isolation was a good game.
Yes.
Colonial Marines, terrible.
Yes.
And then what was that team?
Battleborn,
terrible.
Terrible.
So Borderlands is good. Are they going to keep just making Borderlands? I don't know. 4, 5, 6, 7. I feel like teams get bored of doing the same thing. They really didn't even want to make Borderlands 3 for a while. So I feel like they might get a lot of mediocre games from this company.
I think
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think you can only push out so many Borderlands. It's cool. But its style and its humor, I think, is like inherently abrasive to a lot of people. So
right,
and you need some time before you jump back in that.
Right.
You can't just poop out Borderlands all the time. Hey, we're making money, and you got to come with other stuff. And when they've done other stuff, boy, has it not worked out well. Speaking of other stuff that has worked out well, despite the main publisher, Apex Legends Season 8 started on February 2nd. David, you had a chance to play some Apex Season 8. What was your impressions of it?
So far, it's really good. The original map is back, of course, with some few adjustments, because with the new character that came in, Fuse, the way he came in, his rival / friend or whatever she is, like, destroyed the ship, whatever, so it crashed, and now there's a bunch of map changes. And they also introduced a new gun, the 3030, and I hate it. Because it's good, but only if you're good with it. I don't know. But the season itself is a lot of fun. I've been playing it as much as possible, and all the new cosmetics and stuff like that. When you're diving in from the ship, you can like hit space if you have these emotes with different characters, and they launched some new ones with this one, and they're all really cool. It doesn't add anything to the game, but just to fly in and do cool stuff, it's a good time waster.
Right.
I say it's a free game. If you guys haven't played it yet, give it a shot. It's free. It's a battle royale. It's a good time.
Cool. Cory, any opinions on that, or you're not really into Apex that much, right?
Not really. I know they just announced it for the Switch, the release date, which is kind of cool that it's coming there. I don't have the release date on me, but cool for them. I can respect, the quality of the game.
Right. One game that I know you are interested in, and that might be a little bit of trouble for you in the drafties here.
No, we're good.
Is news item number 8, Returnal. Got delayed 1 month to April 30th. You sure there's no worries on your end there, bud? Huh?
This is a non-news story. Move on. It's fine. Item number 8. Item number 9.
There you go. Well, item number. You want me to read it again? Item number 8. You want me to read it
again? No. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Well, then news item number 9. The Resident Evil 4 remake also got delayed. Now, David, this must have broke your heart.
It's upsetting. That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, I don't know how much different they're going to make it. Like, when I talked about Resident Evil 3, some stuff was taken out and stuff like that. I hope it's really close to how it was originally, just, like updated, of course. Mm-hmm. But did it say how long it was delayed?
All right, so here's the thing.
Can't recall.
So now Resident Evil 4, it hasn't been announced yet, the remake. Just rumors, but the rumor is now it's been delayed because there was a great discrepancy among, do we change a lot like we did with Resident Evil 3, take out parts, add stuff, or do we keep it the same? And now after the reception of Resident Evil 3, I believe they're going more for a straight remake. And I believe it's 2022. So quite a ways away, but that's got to make you happy, David. More of like a straight, like, hey, this is the RE4 you remember, just improved in every aspect.
I like that.
Okay.
That's good.
Nice. Well, we know who won't be making games in 2022, and that's Google. So
They
the
made so many good games though.
news item number 10 is Google is shutting down their game studios. So 14 months after they limped onto the gaming scene with Google Stadia, Google has announced it is dissolving its 2 gaming studios, which means there will be no first-party games coming to Google Stadia, as they said when they first tried to sell this sham of a platform. This was announced by Phil Harrison, who also said that Stadia is, quote, a platform for our industry partners, unquote. Not for gamers, for their industry partners. But again, I'm saying this, the reason we're talking about this is because we all had an inkling of this before. We completely flamed them, but when they just got started. So my question to you guys is, on a scale of 5 to 5, how funny is this?
Oh, it's a 12.
Oh, okay.
Like
exactly.
it saw this coming. Saw it coming. It's the same thing the Microsoft did with Mixer. Like that's not your thing. This was not Google's thing. It was a disaster waiting to happen, and it came.
I mean, Google's thing is though starting projects and then stopping them quite soon after they start them. So
Right.
in that regard, it is their thing. Like this was par for the course for them. You
Yeah.
know, they jump into something, it's not as easy or as they want it to be, and they cancel it. Which really sucks is they got a team of 150 people to come and join. Hey, come to the Google team.
Right.
Now all those people are out of jobs.
Right.
So it's not funny for them, but like Google, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. If they can't buy their way or bully their way into something, they can't finesse, it seems like.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah, so it'll be expected. And it's funny. We're almost kind of like Nostradamus, I think.
Yeah.
But I think everybody could have Nostradamus this. So
yes.
Maybe we don't deserve any credit. But news item number 11. EA Sports announces a college football game. Now, for this piece of news that I know Chad is absolutely thrilled about, EA Sports announced its return to making college football games. There was not much information provided. More than likely, it is locked behind several loot boxes. I mean, surprise mechanics. But it is also early in the production of the game. So, guys, do you have any interest in this? I will say, from my background with this game, before I got an Xbox One, which was a terrible decision, I had an Xbox 360, and the only game I played on it was NCAA Football 14. That was the only game I played on it. And I played this game being the only thing for like a year on my system before I bought an Xbox One, which was a disappointment. And I bought an Xbox One to play The Division, which was also a disappointment. So,
well,
that maybe lets you know, based upon the company, based upon everything else, what my expectations may be for this game. But what are your guys' expectation for this?
Well, my expectations was cool. Now Madden has competition, but then I was told it's the same company. When I was like, well, that sucks because Madden is terrible. So hopefully they don't do the same stuff. But what's gonna stop them?
Yeah, on the internet, everyone seems real happy about this announcement. It's getting a lot of pub press from everybody. But like, I don't really understand why, because NCAA football to me was always just that, like, hey, it's Madden, but a month early. And you bought that until you got to Madden, and then you dropped NCAA. NCAA football is not a great game. It's the same game as Madden, just without any player names, without any, of that pizzazz. And coming back, it's not going to hit like people want it to hit. You already know they're going to do microtransactions, a my team sort of gimmick. And a lot of times when these sports games go away for a few years and come back, like we saw with NBA Live, they cannot regain what they had. So I'm expecting a very poorly done football game.
Okay, now we'll say really quickly, the first half of what you said, I wholly disagree with. The second half of what you said, I completely disagray with.
You disagree with both?
There's no need for separation. Yeah, you did.
No, actually, I agree with you on the second part.
Okay. Okay.
So I think it's very. We're in lockstep on the second half.
Okay.
Yeah, but hopefully, the people out there that really want to drink the Kool-Aid for it are satisfied. News item number 12: Mass Effect Legendary Edition is going to be released May 14th. How amped up are you guys for this game to make its glorious re-emergence into the next gen consoles so that EA can make more money on the same IP?
Well, not necessarily the next gen consoles. It's previous gen, but you can play them on next gen. See, they didn't go all the way and make them, PS5 Mass Effect or Xbox Series X Mass Effect. So I'm excited. The trailer brought back a lot of nostalgia. Those 3 games are great. They are improving all graphics. They're even improving some gameplay in Mass Effect 1 because I've heard that aged a little badly, but the characters are still great. The story up until the very end of Mass Effect 3 is still great. I'm excited to jump back in. I haven't played this since originally buying them, so it feels like time for a replay. Jeremy, I know you drafted this game. Are you pumped up? You excited?
I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab this bad boy. Probably not launch day, but pretty not long after launch day, I'll say. So yeah, I am. I'm
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
amped to
David,
get back into it.
have you played this, David?
I did not play the originals, so this coming out has no effect on me.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess one last question. Jeremy, are you going to stick with as closely as you could with the same decisions you made?
No, because I don't remember them.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
Like those bug creatures, the rancid or something. Did you save them? The queen? Remember the queen?
Don't. I think only thing I remember is I think I had a male Captain Shepard.
Who'd you have sex with?
I think I was trying to nail some blue lady.
Whoa, that's personal, Corey.
Liara.
Okay. If that's
all right. So I had sex.
By.
I had sex with Liara in the first game, and in the second game, they were all coming at me, and I denied them all. I stayed faithful. I'm like, no, Talia, can't do it. Ashley, no, thank you. And then Liara was very thankful in the third game, and it was beautiful. But I'm cheating on her this game.
All right, there we go, and that is what time does to the morality of a person. we have completed our morning announcements. A dearth of entertainment and information right there, and we are going to move on to the roundtable where we discuss a single topic or issue. And guys, do we have a fun little doozy for you on this one? Okay, you guys know we like to do best, worse, and debate, or in other words, tell Corey why he's wrong. Okay, and this is going to continue with us discussing best game weapons. Now, within this, we have 3 categories. We have best melee weapon, best gun/range weapon, and a wild card. So we don't know what it's going to be. Okay. Now, guys, who is brave enough to give their first, and I think we're going melee, gun range, wild card. We may go in that order. So, guys, who is brave enough to give their melee weapon?
I'm definitely brave enough. Let's go. Okay. So this one was loved and hated. Probably hated more because I hated it when I wasn't using it. But when you're using it, it's great. It's fun, and you're just making everyone else mad. And that is, of course, with a certain perk, Commando, is the knife in Modern Warfare 2. I don't know if you guys played that, but people just run around Marathon Commando, and they're just knifing you from, like, meters away.
I do remember that.
And when you're just tired of not getting kills with guns, that's what you do.
Yeah,
Because somehow 8 bullets don't kill you, but 1 knifing kills them.
makes perfect sense.
Short, sweet, simple.
Nice. Nice. Now that is a bit of a surprise based on our previous discussions surrounding this topic, but I do like it. I do like it a lot. Cory, you're next up. You got to follow up that.
Listen, I can follow that up very well. David, it's a good pick, but I don't like it because in the ethos of video games, you have some of the most powerful weapons in all of history. You have the Master Sword, which can banish evil. You have the Monado from Xenoblade, which, according to Smash Bros., you do whatever you want with it. You have the Energy Sword from Halo. Like, it's like the best weapon in Halo. You have the Buster Sword with Cloud. Like, I couldn't just pick one, so I'm using all of these right here. But my personal favorite is the Holy Whip, the Magic Whip, the Vampire Killer from the Castlevania series, wielded by the Belmont clan. Now, I picked this because a lot of melee weapons are bladed weapons. And that's cool and all, but I wanted to go a little outside the box. You have yourself a nice metal whip that dispels all evil. You go through these castles and you're taking out Medusas, you're taking out zombies, you're taking out beasties, you're killing the Grim Reaper, and of course you're banishing Dracula. And to kill Dracula is such a cool feeling, and it's just a really unique weapon in gaming that you don't see that often with some great range. I love it as a melee weapon. The Vampire Killer, the whip.
We might get a whip in the new indie game coming out. So the whip may be making a comeback.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. There is a whip in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Cool. All right.
You.
My melee weapon is excellent. It is magnificent. It is OP. And my melee weapon is the sledgehammer from Red Faction Guerrilla. Now, I don't know if you guys played this. It one hits anyone. And when you hit them with the sledgehammer, they fly like 80 yards in the air and just away. Also, one of the things that are best known about Red Faction is, at least with the Guerrilla, is that you have everything's destructible environments. So this sledgehammer can not only hit people and send them flying 80 feet away, it can also completely take down whole buildings, whole military compounds. You can walk into a military compound and take down the whole thing with this bleeping sledgehammer. Okay? It is brilliant. It is great. It's not bladed. It is a sledgehammer. It is a huge hammer, a hammer to rival Thor's himself, I would say. So that is my melee weapon, the sledgehammer from Red Faction Guerrilla. I love.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. We're going to move on now.
Diverse.
It is. I'm looking forward to gun range here. Okay, so gun range. David, what do you got?
Okay, so I was thinking about it, and the one I've put the most time into would also be Modern Warfare 2, the UMP, because duh. But I've thought about it, and my answer is going to be Resident Evil 4's hand cannon. Because after you beat the mini game, you could be like 5 characters, I think, and you have to get 5 stars on the 4 maps, and then you unlock this gun, and it's pretty much a one-shot kill for everything in the game. So you just go through, and it's pretty much just how fast can you beat it, and just to do that, I have no problems with ammo or anything because it's infinite ammo. It's just a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Oh, that suits you, Cory. That's okay this time.
It's like it has like mythical like talks about it. I've heard about the hand cannon. I've never used it, but I know about it. And to know about that weapon without ever using it, it's just one of the granddaddy of all guns. So mad respect for that one. All right. So this one was, this is a tough one. There's so many powerful guns in gaming. Yes. I'm gonna give you a list because I couldn't pick one. I hope I don't steal yours, Jeremy. But the golden gun, obviously from 007, one hit. You have the Fat Boy from the Fallout series, which is you shooting a nuke. Like you shoot a nuke with a gun. That's nuts. You have the BFG from Doom, which is like the big effing gun. I've never used it. Heard it's great. You have the portal gun. And sticking with like kind of the same series, Half-Life 2, the best gun in gaming is the gravity gun, because the gravity gun has any bullet you want to use. It's just a fantastic gun in a fantastic game. You get to aim it and you bring saw blades towards you and you spit them back out. You never run out of ammo. Has a really cool design. It's really useful in all situations. I could use it at home. You know, you can't use the hand cannon at home, unfortunately, but the gravity gun,
I mean,
mwah, chef's kiss.
Okay. That's very interesting. I did possibly consider that one, but actually, the gun range that I have is one you mentioned, and that's because
it's the Fat Boy.
No, it is the BFG 9000, the big effing gun from Doom. Okay, this thing destroys without even trying. Okay, it looks cool, great sound, this green energy that comes out and just zaps and destroys and melts everything in front of you. You have to go through like a pain in the sequence in order to actually get it in the game. So you earn it. When you get your hands on the BFG, you've earned this bleeping thing. And this thing is just in the pantheon of best guns in gaming. It stands the test of time. This thing's amazing.
It's in the gaming museum. It is the gun that's at the top. Everyone knows it. That's a great pick, Jeremy. Great pick.
All right. So we are moving on to the wild cards. This is who knows what's going to happen here. And especially we're going on to I think we established in our last level, resident psychopath, David. We're going to figure out what his wild card weapon is. So David, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to go kind of out of there, out of the ballpark, and go with, as the tank, like Left 4 Dead and stuff, you listen to the last bonus level, you can pretty much hit crap with the tank and it hits the survivors. I was just say, like those, like the cars and whatever. But thinking about it, I'm going to have to go with, you guessed it, Resident Evil's just their bioweapons, like Nemesis or Mr. X. Like, those are weapons. They may not be using by you personally, but who's gonna expect that, right?
He's kind of like a Bane or something like that. Who's going to expect the product to be a living entity, I guess.
Yeah, I did not expect a living weapon. Great pick. X gonna give it to you.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have you seen the mod for that?
I've seen all the mods for it. Bernie
is so great.
Ronald McDonald, it is amazing. Is it up to me now?
Yeah. What do you got?
All right, Mr. X, Tyrant, Nemesis, whatever you call them. Those are great picks. I'm going to pick something that is it starts small, but it's a devourer of small things, a devourer of your room, a devourer of your house, of trees, of buildings, of oceans. I want to talk about the Katamari. I don't know if you guys have played Katamari Damacy or Beautiful Katamari, but the Katamari is a small gobstopper looking thing. And it is wielded by the prince, who is the son of the king of all cosmos. And the king of all cosmos had a drunk night, got rid of the universe, blah, blah, blah. He wants his son to roll up everything to create these stars. So the Katamari's power is it collects things. At first, you start small. You're picking up dimes, you're picking up paper clips, and eventually it gets to a size where you are taking entire cruise liners. You're taking the ocean. You're taking continents. And it is just such a powerful destruction of a weapon that I don't think it can be ignored in a list like this. The Katamari.
I actually played that on PS2.
Yeah. Great music. J-pop.
Yeah, I surprisingly played this one.
Okay.
Nice. Mine's, I believe, just as powerful as these other two, and it is the red shell for Mario Kart. This is a weapon that if you wield it in the game, you dominate at least a certain section of the race. it puts you in control of a lot of things. You're able to not only protect yourself, but you are able to send this off, follow up the people in front of you, and you are able to screw 2, 3, 4 people out of position sometimes and really rally yourself in. I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge advantage in a race in Mario Kart. And if you're somehow able to get a lucky spin where you get back-to-backs, if you're able to six-tuple red shell it in a Mario Kart race, it's a wrap. You're going to win it. If you don't win it, you did something wrong. Okay. So that's my wild card. Red Shell Mario Kart. It's almost undefeated, never lost.
Great pick. That's a lot like Mr. X, the living weapons. They're going to find you no matter where you are. Eventually, it will get to you, and it'll ruin your life.
Yep. Absolutely. I will say this, guys. I think that every single weapon outlined in this has been exceptional. I would play with all of them, both in their games and in real life. Okay. So,
God,
if you want to send me a Katamari and I can find me a BFG 9000 in real life, fantastic. Okay. We don't have to do any kind of boosting of GME stocks. The hedge funds will kneel. All right. So, absolutely fantastic. But we're done with the roundtable. That's our list. You guys let us know what's your favorite melee, gun range, or wild card weapon in gaming. There's a lot of great choices. Corey, you mentioned a bunch of great guns. I was thinking about some melee ones. The chain swords in God of War, fantastic melee weapons. Even something like
what about the gun in Gears of War? Melee end gun. What's that called?
Oh yeah, the chainsaw rifle.
They got the chainsaw on it. Yeah, it's amazing.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah. You guys let us know. There's tons of options out there. Those are ours. But we are going to move on from the round table to quickfire. We talk about 1 or 2 games we want to highlight because we've been playing them. We think they need to have some little bit of some love shown to them. And I'm going to start this off because though I've been playing Civ 6, because I've been on a Civ 6 kicker, the game I recently returned back to is Software Inc., the game that I've already sunk 200 hours into. And that is because they have the Alpha 11 branch out that you can play for Steam and added a bunch of new stuff. Not only did it get a graphical upgrade, they added a bunch of new things. So not only can you produce software, but you can also produce hardware. And if you can produce hardware, you have to set up logistics. So when you're creating packages, your boxes of your product, you have to have the label printers. You have to have a conveyor system that dumps off the product to the correct pallets. They need to be able to move out and get shipped off and different things like that. So you're essentially running your company, your multi-million or billion or trillion-dollar company, software company like you're supposed to. And then you also need to handle the logistics side of your company as well now. So it's almost kind of like, okay, I need to be Microsoft and Amazon at the same time. And it adds a really new, interesting section and complexity to the game. They've also added a bunch of other personalization things in there that you can add. The people, the way you manage them is different now. The way they progress as far as their stats and skills is different, a little bit more advanced. Everything about it is harder, which I like, because you need to put more thought into everything. So I've been playing that. Absolutely loving it. I think they're doing a great job. The 1 or 2 or 3 developers that work on the game. So that's it, man. Software Inc. I've put 200 hours into it. All the changes they've made alone, I can easily see myself putting another 30, 40, 50 hours into it before they make even more additions. And then I'll put another 30, 40, 50 hours into it. So, that's the game I have been playing. Corey, what are your quick fires?
All right. So I recently got an Xbox Series X.
Yes.
I've been looking for one, so now I am back on the Game Pass. I was able to get all access, so I got Game Pass for 2 years. I am downloading everything. I've been playing a ton, but there's 2 I want to highlight more than the others. First one up is Monster Sanctuary. Now, Monster Sanctuary is a 16-bit type Pokemon game. You go around this world, and it has a little bit of platforming, but nothing too hard, and you collect monsters. The designs are pretty cool. The battles are okay. It's pretty much just like, hey, this is this character's weakness. This is their strong point. But what I really enjoy about this game is the leveling up. Now, Pokemon has where you gain stats, and so do the monsters in this. But Pokemon works like when you get to level 10, they automatically give you Bubble Beam or something. You don't really have a choice. In this game, it's really cool because there's a whole move list, and you can really curate how you want your monster to be. And I think that's something that Pokemon should steal, because you can make your monster a offensive powerhouse, defensive, have them do all the buffs. And I really like that. And you also do battles of 3-on-3, which is really cool. But I'm liking that game so far. Another one I want to kind of shout out is Tetris Effect Connected. I think it was a Game Pass game when Xbox Series X first came out. I think everybody knows Tetris. It's kind of worldwide. But this one, it really, as the name says, connected. It really connects you to Tetris. It has such a zen-like feeling with the music and the different backgrounds. As you're moving the Tetramino pieces, certain songs might have, like a jazz song might have a drum snare hit every time you move the piece. And when you lay it down, it might do something else. So you're really creating this music as you're playing the game. And it's just a fantastic experience that I've really enjoyed. So if you haven't had a chance, check it out just to see what it's like.
Nice. David, what is your quick fire?
Well, as I discussed earlier, I've been playing a lot of Apex. The new battle pass is out, so I'm trying to get that done. Because if you don't have the currency already, it costs $10. But if you complete the battle pass, you get that $10 back, which turns out to be 1,000 coins. But you also get 50 extra coins. So if you do it enough, you eventually get extra coins, and you can maybe buy a skin or something. So that's gonna take me quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. That's my quick fire.
Sounds like it.
So guys, that is it for quick fire. That is it for the first portion of your thoughts and players, level 21 of our podcast. We're going to take
a quick drink.
Right, we are legal. We're going to take a quick break. Go get some Cavassier or Hennessy or whatever the kids drink nowadays. And then when we come back, let's not recommend that, right?
It is a better recommendation than your AMC pick, though. So I mean,
dang!
This coming from the guy who wussed out a Dogecoin. I can't believe you. Okay, I can't believe you.
I have 13 shares.
Okay.
What was that? 80 cents?
56 at the time.
It is about that much. Okay, yeah. So we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Was It Worth It?
This level of the Thoughts and Players podcast was made possible by your support. If you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to like, rate, and share the show, as well as contribute to our community questions and segments. Doing so helps the show grow, keeps our content engaging, and most importantly, makes sure your voice is heard. Thanks for tuning in. And now, back to the show.
And welcome back. As you all know, we are going to go into Was It Worth It? And with today's level, we have a brand new game, The Medium. Now, I have not played it, but the other two have. So that is why I am being the leader right now. We're going to go in with visuals first, guys. How are the visuals to you?
So I will say, I think I find it interesting that Cory and I are reviewing a horror game.
Yeah.
I think
not happy about it.
I would have a
poetic.
very biased review. We need some bold takes.
Okay.
Some fresh eyes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see, Cory, you want to give your opinion on the visuals first? You want me to take it?
Yeah, okay. Speaking of fresh eyes, I thought this game looked pretty good. Not outstanding. It's like touted as like the first exclusive for Series X and S. You would hope that it would be groundbreaking in terms of visuals, kind of like Rise was with the Xbox One. But for me, I thought it looked pretty good. Now, the graphical style is mostly realistic. But as you know, if you looked at this game, it has like split worlds. And the other world's kind of like, what would you call that? Like a demon world?
Yeah. It's a spirit world, yeah.
I thought it was mostly bland. It mostly had like an orange hue the entire time, and it kind of looked decrepit, but not visually like something I would be focusing on. Most of the time I was looking at the real world aspect when they did those splits, but graphics for the most part, pretty good.
So visuals for me, this is interesting because we've talked some, but we haven't really dove into each other's opinions on things.
Right.
So the visuals for it, the Spirit World is heavily influenced by this Polish artist named Zdzisław Bakinski, I believe is his name. And it's kind of like this really hauntingly macabre, but kind of soft, seeking kind of beautiful type of art. And I think with that being the game's inspiration, they do that kind of art style justice. I thought the game looked really, really good as far as just its fidelity. And, I think as far as what you got with the camera angles, how it, showed everything. I think we mentioned this game has fixed camera angles. So very much like classic, throwing it back to like the old RE games. So it has that. So they're able to kind of on their own set up these angles in the game that I think give the most beautiful or most complimenting visual shots of where you're at in different areas and different scenes like that. So overall, I thought that the game looked really, really good, and I really, really dug the atmosphere they kind of created with it as well. So,
okay, and you said that the whole artist thing that was for the Spirit World.
Yeah.
So the Spirit World and the real world had different kind of art. Did that mesh well?
I think it did what their intention was, which is to have a stark contrast.
Yeah,
as far as color palette and everything like that.
Right. Okay. I probably said the wrong word, but that is okay. That's good. Okay.
I don't know, Jeremy. I found the Spirit World just kind of boring. From room to room and area to area, it looked really the same to me. Each different room, it had all those like big blobs coming off, and that's kind of all it was to me, the entire game pretty much. Some areas did it a little better, but for me, the Spirit World kind of let me down.
Yeah. I can see that it gets to a point where when you're navigating, I think in either realms, it eventually gets samey, right? There's not a lot of real good divisions in the visuals in regards to something being or looking and feeling different. There are some instances, but that usually happens when your character changes, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So next category, we have the sound of the game and the music in the game. How are those?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'll go first really quick. So I don't really have a lot to say with the music. It's there. The composer of it is the composer of the Silent Hill games. He did the music for it. But I think he made it to just be really subtle and really, really, really kind of in the background. So there's not really much that's noteworthy about it. The voice acting is fine. I think the worst voice acting is with the protagonist. Which we can also get into. I think there's a lot of elements in the game where the worst parts of it is with the protagonist, which is very confusing. But overall, sound and music is fine.
Yeah, I would say it never elevates the game to a point where you're really feeling scared from the music, but it does a good enough job throughout where it's not always there, but when it's there, you're like, okay, it's setting a tone, but just not enough of a tone. A lot of it's just kind of ambient noises where, it's kind of letting the graphics kind of speak for you. In terms of like the voice acting, well, it sounds, they are what they are, but for the voice acting, I thought it was very well done. Main character, very convincing. All the other supporting characters, very well done. I really enjoyed the voice of the monster. A lot of these games, you don't get like the big bad that actually talks. And this guy had a real creepiness, real like almost like flirty. And it was kind of unsettling to me. It was a little humorous, but at the same time, it was a little unsettling, which I found to be like one of the high aspects of the game.
That's interesting because if that's what they were going for with Richard Gere, and I've called him Richard Gere because the monster is essentially a big moth, and Richard Gere started Mothman Prophecies. Don't at me. That's a great reference. But if that's what they wanted him to go for, I think that Troy Baker, who did the voice for it, did a great job.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was Troy Baker. Cool.
For me, the voice acting of the monster, that's when I was like, oh, this is getting kind of dumb because I can't take it serious now.
Right.
And for me, the most scary thing about horror is the plausibility of the scenario.
Okay.
So that's where it was kind of like, what he's talking about. Ooh, I'm gonna I'm gonna wear your skin, and
But like,
what?
it was so well delivered.
It was well
I don't
delivered.
know. It was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. It sounded like him from the Powerpuff Girls to me. I don't know. I just love the voice actor.
I haven't heard that voice in a long time.
Play the medium. You're gonna get a little bit of that. I liked it.
Nice.
See, but I would have played it, but I don't have an Xbox. So, but we'll move on.
I don't want to give away our judgment, but I'll say you ain't got a rush. I'll just say that.
Good. Just I'm broke. Let's move on to the story of the game. How was the story?
Jeremy, you're a smarter man than I, so I will let you take this and explain it and tell us how the story was.
So for me, the story was the second strength of the game. Now, that's not me saying it's good. That's me just saying it's a second strength. I think the strength of the game to me is the visuals. I think that's the thing where you're like, oh, okay, this is at least AAA quality on par with that, right? The story, the main character, Marianne, right? Mm-hmm. When the game first started, I've said before, I don't like scary games. I don't like being scared. Okay. And when the game first started and you have to, do what you got to do, I think it was a good tone setter. And I was like, okay, I'm a little creeped out. So I'm going to keep going. And as the game progressed, I wanted Marianne to become more interesting. She did not. When you're called by this guy that basically wants to let you understand or tell you about how you got your powers, right? Essentially, how you became a medium, how you have this gift. And so you travel to the Niwa Resort, which is somewhere in Poland. All this takes place in Poland, even though no one has a Polish accent. And you meet this character when you get there named Sadness. Now, I remember I told you with the Mothman, with Richard Gere, that I lost it completely, my immersion in the buy-in of the premise with him, but it started with Sadness. Because you can't name a character Sadness and then expect me to take the rest of the whole thing serious. So you go there, and then through that you learn the things. I don't want to spoil too much of the story. I will say in regards to how they pace it, it's paced terribly. This game takes a hop, skip, and a jump to get to the point. And essentially, the story of it takes place around a lot of different themes. Themes of belonging and family, as well as themes of exclusion, of bigotry, of different traumas that people may experience in their life, and how those traumas can manifest into affecting others intentionally or unintentionally. It's pretty much the themes of it. And so in that end, I mean, they did it. I commend them on touching on the subject. I feel like they could have did better. The motives they give for one person, they make you someone else so you can explore the mindset or how this one person that perpetuated something terrible to your child, why they did it. And it's basically, well, they had trauma as a kid. And if you experience trauma as a kid, especially violence in the household, it can progress to becoming something violent later on in your adult life. Cool, that matches up, but I don't get the switch. So there wasn't a lot to invest in that regards. The story is, and we were trying to figure out some stuff in regards to like present, past, and past. I think you go from a flashback to a flashback within a flashback. And we were just trying to figure out some of the story elements, and it gets a little bit convoluted at times.
Jeremy?
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just going to comment on the story, but go ahead, David.
I've been hearing that this game touches on a lot of stuff, but then just kind of forgets about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I guess it does forget about it. It touches on very, very heavy subjects. Like, that's all it does. It just touches on them, and it doesn't explore like how deeply that really affects you. I think they were afraid to go that far, which is fine. It is a video game, but it feels kind of disingenuous to even talk about it and not go further with it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
back to the story and Jeremy's point, I think the very beginning premise has something to it where you're initially intrigued, but then after you actually make it to that hotel, it takes a long while to get back into the zone of like, hey, this game's supposed to be a scary game. And I will also say that the story was like the second high point for me behind the voice acting. I did like the story enough. It kept me intrigued. It kept me wanting to keep playing. But I don't think it's something that's going to stick with me years down the line or even a couple months down the line.
Okay. Did you both finish the game?
Yes.
What was your game time?
7-8 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a relatively short game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a relatively short game, and it took forever to get to the point.
Yeah, it did.
That's the troubling thing about it, is that it's 8 hours for a story that probably could have been told in 4. It's troubling. That's one huge knock I have for it, is that, like you said, the game doesn't explore those themes well enough. It just touches on them, and then it spends 8 hours touching itself. All right. So like, you know, I can only give you so much credit for touching yourself, even in ways of which are important. So yeah, that's it for story, really. But I think we're in lockstep that was kind of the second highlight for you of the game. If you had to give that a strength, that's probably its second strength. For you, the strength is the voice acting, then the story. Me, it's the visuals, and then the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. We have technical category.
Yeah.
I'll go first real quick. I really didn't have any technical issues with it at all that I've noticed, so I will pass it along to Jeremy.
All right, really quick. Whenever the game went in split screen, because you had the two worlds, the regular world and the spirit world, some frame dips were happening. Both in gameplay and in rendered cutscenes, I experienced this. It's more likely because the worlds have two different asset sets, so they're rendering two different types of assets in these scenes, that's cool. That's really harnessing the power of the Xbox Series X. Guess what? It makes the frames dip. For me, that's not a big issue, but if you're someone that's really into that, then I guess that screws some stuff with you. There's also a few instances of texture pop in the split screen, and sometimes when you're loading into a level, but that happens. It wasn't anything obnoxious. So that was pretty much, for me, that's it on the technical side, really. Besides that, I think it ran fairly well. It was capped at 30 frames per second, which may be a disappointment for people who are expecting next generation 4K 60p, but I think it's fine for the game.
Was there any loading? Did you have to wait at all, or was it just pretty quick?
No, I don't think there was any loading, right?
Not a lot of loading, or at least not that we could really recognize. It wasn't perceivable.
Well, that's good. That's a plus. All right. Well, we have our last category. One of the most important ones is the gameplay. What do you guys got to say about this?
Yeah, to me, this is the most important one. And there was a point in the game where a character mentions, hey, this is tedious. And I 100% agree. It was very tedious to me. The game, besides the split screen, a lot of it was go into a room, try to go to a door or go to a cabinet or go somewhere, figure out that you can't proceed. In that room is an item where you then can proceed. So you search the room, you find that item, and you open it up. And you go from room to room to room like this. And to me, that's not fun. The puzzles weren't engaging at all. And they did make it where the split screen where you saw the spirit world and the real world, for the most part, that was wasted in my mind. Now, towards the very end of the game, they had a couple unique things that I wish they would have done a lot earlier on. A couple things that made you think, a couple things that were like, oh, that's neat, how you have to go from one world to the other to actually achieve this goal. But for the most part, I found it very tedious. There's a couple chase scenes, which are fine. They're not my favorite. Those are the ones that kind of scare me, but they weren't too bad. And then there was a couple stealth sections, and I hate stealth. And there's a couple stealth sections where the enemy is invisible, And that was just a drag. Luckily, they were very short. I got through them on my first or second try, but still, if I would have been stuck on that, that would have just made the game that much worse for me. So gameplay was not its high point.
Yeah, I don't want to rant, but I might. I think somewhere along the line, this game at points forgot it was a game. You, like you said, I think you had said before that like the game loop of the game is go into a room and find a thing so you can go to another room and find a thing. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what you're doing the whole time. The split screen. I have a big gripe with the split screen. I've read a lot of reviews that are applauding it. And for some reason, it irritates me because the utilization of the split screen makes no sense. Because when you're doing something, you're also doing it in the real world, right? And then if you need to figure out something, oh, well, I need to do it, but I need to go to a certain place in the spirit world to do it. And then if there's a certain scenario where I'm caught at, I have to do something called an out-of-body experience, which is where you basically make it that you can control the person just in the spirit world for a short amount of time. And then you go back and you sync up with your real world. For what? For what? All of this stuff is a gameplay mechanic designed to cater to an aesthetic. The only reason we are doing this is because they wanted the game to have a split screen. Besides that, there's no interesting utilization of gameplay in it. Now, I mentioned before that there's this mission in Titanfall 2, which if no one here has played Titanfall 2, go play it because it is an exceptional game. But there is a mission in it called Effect and Cause. And in this game, or in this mission, you are the pilot and you're going through this building to try to find these other things you need to get to the next level. It's all story elements. I don't want to get into it that much. But you're shown the past and the present. In the past, the building is nice and great. And in the present, the building is dilapidated, it's abandoned, and it's on fire. And there's different areas where in order for you to navigate areas that aren't accessible or that may have fires that are keeping you from out of it, you have to push a button, go back into the past, where you can then get to the next section you need to go to, and then go back into the present. This all happens on one screen. It's super easy to control, and it's absolutely exceptional game design, okay? This is essentially the same thing, but none of the finesse, because we want to show you Marianne in the spirit world talking to a ghost, while Marianne is also in the real world talking to no one. And why is half of my screen showing my character talking to no one? Is it, because they're a ghost? No bleep. It's called the medium. I know they're talking to ghost. And if I was in the spirit world, I could just be talking to the bleeping ghost.
Yeah.
But instead, half my screen is showing me talking to a street lamp or to a bush or whatever the heck they have rendered there. You know, and I saw one review and they're like, well, this, in the regular world, they use it to zoom in and show her facial expressions. Oh, because you can't do that with one screen. That's right. Never happened before. Before games, it's not like movies ever did that. Like, what are we talking about here? Besides all of that, I don't like the stealth. I don't like the stealth when he's invisible. I don't like the stealth when he is visible. I don't like looking around, having to read different things and hearing my character say something about the item every time they look at the item. Okay. The gameplay was the worst part of the game to me.
Yeah.
So,
and you brought up Titanfall 2, and I just want to throw it back to another game. I want to throw it back to the Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 games. Those have fun puzzles. Yes. They're pretty simple. You're trying to find a key that unlocks a door. Same kind of thing as the medium. But they show it to you early. And then when you find it much later in the game, you feel I can check out this new area. The medium never has any of that. You find the item and you immediately open that door. There's no circling back or hey, what's this item do again? Oh, it brings me to this spot. Oh, I found the gem that now goes in the statue. All that stuff happens immediately. Right, and there's no payoff for finding that. So if it just doesn't do it like Resident Evil. David, I know you're a huge Resident Evil fan.
I was actually... When, after you guys said what you guys wanted to say, I was going to make that comparison. It sounds like Resident Evil just done poorly.
Done very poorly,
Everything's just in the same room. Like that's
Right.
why. Like I like the
There's-
whole. Oh crap! This is the spake
there's
key.
no fun
Gotta go
aha
back.
moments. Right. Resident
Hmm.
Evil has a ton of those. Aha. This has none.
Right.
Yeah, and just to double on that, Resident Evil also has action.
Yes.
You've got to
it
have
has
some big
combat.
cojones to make a worse Resident Evil with no action.
And another thing, like I'm not trying to compare it to Resident Evil, but Resident Evil has stakes. This game felt like it almost had no stakes throughout the entire process. It felt, I told this to you, Jeremy, but it felt like they should have made it a walking simulator. It pretty much is, but they should have just made it a story-based game completely instead of putting us with these like bad puzzles and no combat.
Right. I mean, I just remember something else about the story that we don't have to get into. But yes, as far as in regards to the gameplay, it doesn't cut it. I think it's one of the weakest points. I think it is the weakest point of the game, honestly.
In a game. So
in a game. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think the gameplay gets a little bit better as you progress and you become Thomas, which is one of the other mediums in the game, because there's some other interesting things he can do that he does in regards to his playthrough. Just interesting things, being able to break or destroy some things that are all scripted, but I mean it's cool to do something else besides just look at objects. Yeah.
Well, that's all of our categories for this game, and we mentioned it earlier that it has a critic score of 76.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you guys think it is a 76? Do you guys think it's worth a purchase?
Go on, Jeremy.
So this game, if I understand correctly, retails for $49.99, $50. For that price, hell to the no.
Saw that coming.
It's just this game. But here's the thing. It's also on Xbox Game Pass. So is it worth it on Xbox Game Pass? Absolutely. And the reason that it is because it looks really good to me. The story is interesting. It's different. The game is different. And we don't have a lot of different. We have a lot of Battle Royale clones and a lot of FPS clones and a lot of open world clones. This is something that is different. If you're someone that misses the Silent Hills or some of the more classical REs, right? We mentioned that it gives an ode to RE in regards to the fixed camera angles, which means it's able to give you those great shots. But also like the old RE games that have fixed camera angles, the movement's kind of clunky. It's a give and take, right? So if you're someone that's seeking that, or if you're someone that just wants a different gaming experience and you have an Xbox Game Pass, I say for sure play it, give it a try, at least the first couple of hours. And you get to experience something different. The split screen, is it cutting edge? No, but it's different. There's not a lot of split screens happening. Talking to Ghost. I mean, cool. It's interesting there. There's the supporting characters in the game, Sadness, Richard Gere, Thomas, they're all interesting enough to where you would maybe want to see where their story goes. So I'd say from that angle, Xbox Game Pass, sure, give it a spin.
All right, mine's going to be kind of short, I guess. For $49.99, I think it's absolutely not worth it. The gameplay does not elevate it to a point where you would want to buy this game for any amount of money. Now, for Game Pass is tough, man. If you have Game Pass, you have access to this game. All it's really costing you is time. So is this game good enough to be downloaded on Game Pass and played? Sure, a lot of games are, though. I said Power Rangers Battle for the Grid is good enough to be played through Game Pass, which Jeremy doesn't agree, but I still think that's a decent enough game. So if we're going to go by Game Pass, is this game worth it? Sure. I can't count it like that, though, because that's not fair. It's not worth it because in reality, it's a $50 game that's not worth $50.
Okay, so you went a little bit hard. You went a little bit more ham than I anticipated. So you're telling me at no, because you said it's not worth any. If you're telling me if this game is $20, it's worth it at $20.
I'm gonna say this: when I play a game, my favorite aspect of the game is the gameplay. Always. almost always, I'll say. And this has horrible gameplay. I did not enjoy playing it at all. I enjoyed the graphics, the sound, the story. I did not enjoy playing it. It wasn't fun. I did not have a good time going from room to room or searching out every nook. I know you did the same thing as me, Jeremy. You went to one corner of the room and you followed the wall all the way around the room until you were able to click on something. That's not fun at all. If you have to, watch the game on YouTube because playing it is not fun. That's it.
I would recommend maybe checking out on YouTube first to see if you want to play it. I would recommend doing that. Okay.
That's a good recommendation. All right, there you guys have it. It's probably not worth it, even on Game Pass.
It's not even worth YouTube Red to skip the ads.
This guy is just on a rampage.
I
don't know what this game did.
Savage tonight.
Yeah.
But good story, good graphics, good sound. But it's making a movie. I don't know.
There you go.
All
right. Well,
all right. Let's keep it moving, guys.
Yeah. Let's go on to let's go to No Good Reason. Let's go on to our...
So No Good Reason. You guys know what that is. We talk about a game that we shouldn't like, but we do for no good reason, and we give those reasons. And first, I mean, you heard me and Cory blab for a while. You heard Cory. I don't know what this game did to Cory, but you heard him go. So, David, it's your turn. We're going to turn to something positive, and it's up to you, man. What's your no good reason?
All right, my no good reason is Titanfall. Now, like, I know that has a pretty good following, and people think it's a good game, and there's Titanfall 2, but the reason it's my no good reason is because I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into this game, but I had no friends to play it with. I made no friends on the game. I just solo queued this for, like I said, hundreds of hours, and I got ridiculed for playing it. And it was pretty bad, but I enjoyed it. I really liked the aspect of it. I like the whole Titans and running on the walls and everything like that. So, despite being ridiculed, I liked it. It was a tough one to always play, but it was great.
Nice. I didn't play the first Titanfall. Played the second one. Played the heck out of the second one, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, Titanfall 1, I played, I enjoyed too.
Yeah.
Want me to go, Jeremy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my no good reason is the medium. Gameplay's terrible, but for the most part, I enjoyed a lot of different aspects of the story.
Oh my god.
The graphics. There really is no reason why I should like this game, but it was no. Okay, so that was too long of a joke. Forget that. Okay, so for me, this is a very good game, but there was no really good reason that I should like it because you're looking at a military shooter that is highly realistic. I'm talking about one bullet anywhere and you're dead. I'm talking about Rainbow Six Siege. Now, I know Rainbow Six Siege is an excellent game, but for me personally, I'm not even that big of a fan of first-person shooters anymore. And to mix the realism and the one shot and you're dead, and just even the online, the one game mode really, where it's 5-on-5, none of that really spelled like a good game for me. My nephew ended up buying me the game, so I ended up putting some time into it, and I found that it was super compelling. It has such a good tension in that game where you're waiting for that other team to storm or you're the one doing the storming. And it's like the end of a battle royal where there's only like a couple people left, the entirety of that game. And you get that feeling the entire part of it. And it has a ton of operators. I know they put a ton of different updates on it. It's even better now than it was back then. I haven't played it in a little while, but for anyone like me that maybe that's not your game, give it a look. It's on Game Pass. It always goes on sale for PlayStation for about $10. Give it a look. Rainbow Six Siege.
Nice. My no good reason is a game I mentioned earlier, and that is The Division. Like I said, I bought an Xbox One to play this game, so big whoopsie on me. Yeah, it didn't. The game came out super duper buggy. The game didn't make any sense from a standpoint of it's supposed to be realistic. Everything is treated as being realistic, yet it takes 45, 50 headshots to kill a guy. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And a lot of the mods and stuff he would use, they would half work. The guns, being able to improve them, that was fun, but they still didn't improve in a way that made a lot of sense until they added some different things later. They added some later mechanics to make up for some of the bad mechanics they had when they launched the game. Not really any interesting story at all. Decent lore. I think that's what kept it alive and has led to a second one that improved on pretty much everything. But yeah, I did put over 100 hours into it, so there's no good reason. Division, and I had to do a lot of soloing with that too, because I just didn't know a lot of people that were playing it. The people I knew were playing it were playing it on PS4. I didn't have it for PS4. I had it for Xbox One. So that was that.
There we go. Three online shooters.
3 online shooters that have all either had sequels that have been far more successful or just been successful games, or games that turned it around, I should say.
Right. I mean, they're great games.
Yeah.
Right. Way to go, us.
Way to go, us. But we're going to move on from the No Good Reason segment to the Indie Spotlight, where we like to spotlight an independent game and give it some love. And this level, we are talking about a game that I have just recently played, and I really suck at it, and I'm never going to beat it. But gosh darn it, do I enjoy sucking at it. And that is Dead Cells. Dead Cell came out, I believe, 2-3 years ago, 2019?
2017.
2017. So
I think it was early access.
Okay.
First.
But it is essentially it's a roguelite. So, you're playing this character that has no head, and you start and you have to go through this world and find out the lore and beat back like gooey zombies, and I don't even know what they technically are, but a bunch of different enemies, and you get different pickups along the way. You have to do different runs. These runs can last between 20-30 minutes. And you're just trying to get through, get all the best stuff, get the best rolls, do the most damage, and get through there as fast as you can. I am not a roguelike person, so this is not a game I would typically play at all. But I played it, and man, is it fun. Is it fun. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun. It's really weird. It's like, when you were talking about, Corey, how you were saying like Ghost of Tsushima was like the best gamey game you played last year. This is such a gamey game.
Right.
And it's great. It's great because of it.
No, I played this last year or the year before that, kind of when it first came out for the consoles. I am kind of a roguelike fan, but there's a couple like variables to it. You have some roguelites when you do a run and you die, you lose everything. No progress saved, no upgrades at all. Then you have the ones that like upgrade your characters so you get a little stronger each run. And those are the ones I tend to like a lot. But this was kind of like almost like the first Metroidvania roguelike, where your character doesn't necessarily get better each run, but you open up shortcuts. So that first level, which initially took you a half hour to 45 minutes, now you can beat it in 5 because you already know how to beat those guys. You don't need to keep doing that part over again. So I really do enjoy this game. One of my favorite aspects of roguelike games is when you get that kind of overpowered combo, which Dead Cells has a great one. There's, I believe, like turrets, and you can upgrade all these things. So I really love going in with like double turrets at the max upgrade and dropping them and letting them cause havoc. Ton of fun. This is one of the best indies on the market. If you haven't played it, it's a good looking game. It's got kind of that like pixel art, but not quite 8-bit. And like the colors really pop. So Dead Cells, fantastic game for sure. It's made by Motion Twin. So shout out to that indie developer.
Absolutely. I think it pretty consistently goes on sale on Steam, and I think it drops around the $12 to $15 range. Yep. A regular price, it might be around 20. I don't know. And it's on Xbox Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate right now. So if you have an Xbox or you have a PC, you can grab it there and start playing it. If you want to check it out there, if you really want to take a risk, or however long
they have added DLCs to it. I haven't played those personally, but I know they keep adding to the game, so it's probably even better now than it was back then.
Yeah, I don't know if the costumes were part of the DLC or not.
I think so. I don't remember any costumes.
Okay, because I got costumes, and one of the costumes was a snowman. So I was a snowman for a run or two. That was super fun. Yeah, like a straight up snowman, like Jack Frost. And so yeah, that was fun. And again, like you were saying, the different combos you can get. I'm really digging the Blood Sword Ice Blast combo. Really digging that.
Yeah, I forgot about the Ice Blast. That's fun.
Yeah. It's a great game, man. It's being able to play that as well as playing the medium. It was like, oh, this is something to wash my mouth out with.
That's night and day.
Yeah.
That's night and day.
Dead Cells, guys. People, check it out. Check out Dead Cells, guys.
It sounds fun.
And if you're listening, if you want to fall in line with Cory, don't ever look at the medium. But check out Dead Cells. So that is it for our indie spotlight. We're going to take it to our final thoughts. It's one last thought or point each of us make about anything about this episode or not related to this episode. So who would like to give their final thought first?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
All right. So a lot of people have a stigma of, you date somebody, it goes wrong, guys break up, then all the horrible people, whatever, it's just bad. You never want to be with them again, friendship or anything like that. But the thing is, you're both just people, you're their ex, and you're not a bad person. Just because it didn't work out doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just wasn't meant to be. Like, I'm friends with quite a few exes. I'm not like best friends with them. That might be weird, but I still, friends with Facebook, whatever, and like I wish them happy birthday or say, hey, what's up? They're still decent people. So people just should realize that it's okay for something to go wrong. You're just meant for something better later.
Hey, well said.
Well said.
That's what I keep telling Liara.
This guy.
The girl from Mass Effect. I'm taking it back.
Yeah, no, yeah, I got it. I got the call back. We got the call back.
Final thoughts. My final thoughts. All right, so last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't know, we do these episodes so far apart, but a couple weeks ago, the Godzilla vs. King Kong trailer showed, and I didn't think it looked that great, but I'm like, heck, it's going to be on HBO Max for free. Well, the $15, but I have it, so I'm going to watch it. So let me get into this Kaiju verse. So I watched Kong Skull Island, decent. I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters, very mediocre. I don't enjoy these movies, but I'm kind of pumped for this one. So I want to know, who do you got? Do you got King Kong or do you got Godzilla?
Yeah, go with the OG Godzilla.
Is he the OG? I feel like King Kong was like one of the first movie things, right?
Godzilla is like old school.
Yeah.
We're talking like black and white.
Yeah, like, I was gonna say Godzilla's from like the 60s, isn't he?
Maybe even further back than that.
Godzilla, 1954.
Yeah.
Yeah, even further. There you go.
King Kong, 1933.
Oh my
That's
God.
Right. You know what I just thought? Because he was a book first, right?
You're having me do a lot of research here.
Hey, it's your fault.
Sure.
All right, so maybe not OG, but Godzilla.
Godzilla, Jeremy, are you leaning that way? Godzilla.
I'm leaning Godzilla. Yeah.
I hate King Kong, so Godzilla.
There we go. Did you hear they had to size King Kong up in the movies to make him? Yeah, to make him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Godzilla's awesome. He's got that huge beam, and also I rock the Godzilla outfit in Fall Guys, which I haven't mentioned in months. Fall Guys. Jeremy, final thoughts.
Disappointed.
My final thought is, hey, there seems to be some balance issues with Civ 6 that you guys should get to work on. It doesn't make any sense that some civilizations are able to build these super strong units late mid game and they can just take your cities out in 1 or 2 hits. That seems kind of lame. That doesn't seem realistic to like a real country doing thing. I mean, you know, so might want to fix that, guys. You're releasing all this DLC, which is cool, but you might want to, you know, release some balance fixes. That would help a lot. You know, that's my final thought. Help a brother out here with the civilization.
That sounds like sour grapes.
It's not sour grapes at all. I have Indonesia whooping my ass right now, and I can't do anything about it. So that is my final thought. That brings us to the end of level 21 of the Thoughts and Players podcast. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast service. We are on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, Stitcher, iTunes, everything else is going on. You can also like and follow the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/Thoughts and Players, all one word, as well as on Instagram at Thoughts.Players. We are on YouTube, Thoughts and Players. We are on Twitter, Thoughts Players 2. And of course, we are on TikTok at Thoughts Players. We want to thank everyone again for listening, all the new listeners and followers that we have now. We appreciate you guys, and we will catch you on the next level.
Peace.